Hey guys, before we begin the show, I want to do something we don't typically do, and that is to ask for your help. Now, we're not asking you to help any of us, but to actually help out someone else who's important to the internet wrestling community. A lot of you might be familiar with Lee Morgan, known as @TheQueenHeel on Twitter. She is a big live tweeter during the WWE events, a really cool person in the community, and she's recently come into a situation where her and her family could be potentially losing their house. It's a very dire situation, and she's looking for people's help. So we wanted to reach out to our audience to see if they could help out as well. She has started a GoFundMe, which is gofundme.com/queenshouse, where if everyone just kind of gives a little bit, we could actually do a really cool thing for a really cool person in the community. The Byte That podcast will be, contributing what we can. And, like I said, if everyone does a little, we can do a great thing for a great person in the community. So once again, that is gofundme.com/queenshouse, and we will have the link in the description as well. So thank you guys and enjoy the show.
On this episode, we discuss Hulk Hogan being erased from the WWE, SummerSlam officially being a 4-hour show, WWE 2K16, John Cena vs. Rollins, the state of Kevin Owens, and tons more now on Byte That. Hey gang, what's going on? You are listening to episode 101 of Byte That, a weekly podcast where we talk about all the things happening in the world of the WWE and maybe the rest of professional wrestling. Thanks for tuning in and checking out the show. Remember, we are available every single Tuesday night on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, ByteThat.com. And for this, and as always, a lot more, go over to youtube.com/ByteThatCast. Check us out on social media, Twitter, ByteThatCast, Wrestling M&O, Byte That, Instagram, Byte That, a ton of stuff to talk about. But first, let's get over to the introductions. My name is Juan Velez. I am from San Juan, Puerto Rico, and joining me as always from Boston, Massachusetts, Ryan McNulty. Hi.
Episode 1011, the quest for 200 begins tonight.
This is the reintroduction, the 101. That's what we need.
Byte That 101.
Yeah.
Listen to Byte That.
And there's Keith.
Yeah,
what up?
I'm here too.
You doing good?
This is the 101 where we don't take Dalmatians and turn them into a coat.
Hey.
And I'm happy to be here, brother.
Hey, we survived episode 100 week. How are you guys feeling after that?
Oh, great.
Keith had the brunt of the editing process, so my hat is off to him for doing a hell of a job. We all did our part, but I think Keith. He was the champion of that week.
You are the champion, my friend. And now,
yay!
What a way to switch things, because obviously there has been this huge topic between episode 100 and 101, where even today more breaking news started happening about all this. We got to talk about Hulk Hogan. To summarize the situation, because obviously a lot of the footage or audio has not come out. We've seen the transcripts, and a lot of people have had a chance to check it out. This has been an ongoing thing with a lawsuit that happened years ago with Gawker, the National Enquirer, I believe it was. Just a ton of stuff happening. And to summarize, he let out a lot of racial slurs during the sex tape that he released, where he was doing the love sponge with Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. And then there was another piece of information released today, this is July 28th, where he is apparently also sending out homophobic slurs. Now, this concluded in Hulk Hogan effectively being removed from WWE history. If you go to the website, he's not mentioned in the Hall of Fame. Little things like, I am subscribed to Spotify Premium. I can't listen to the first disc of WWE Anthology because obviously the cover was Hulk Hogan. That is no longer a thing. He's removed from the game. He doesn't exist, guys. Who's Hulk Hogan? I'm lost.
You mean Steven Richards?
Yeah, Steven. We got to talk about the Stevie T. No, but how do you guys feel about this? What was your reaction when this huge thing broke out?
First initial reaction was like, oh boy, here we go again, because Hogan isn't exactly known for having the cleanest past when it comes to stuff like that. But I think the most disheartening part of this entire thing is he's not denying any of it. Like, as this has all been happening, Hogan's just like, yep, that's a thing.
Well, I mean,
like,
he's
even though
caught
we,
on
the
tape,
public,
he can't really deny that he, did it or not. I mean, it's pretty clear that he did it. At first, I was very surprised at how, the drastic measures WWE was taking to just straight up remove him from everything. But then when it kind of became clear what exactly has come out, what he's said, I haven't heard the audio, but I've seen, written quotes, and it's pretty bad. And granted, this is something a guy was saying in the privacy of Bubba the Love Sponge's home, I guess.
With a camera.
He didn't know he was being taped, as far as I'm aware. It's basically something, it wasn't a public statement. But just in the PR crazy world we live in, if you get caught saying anything, even if it is in privacy and it gets recorded and it gets out there, it's over. And, WWE kind of has no choice but to just, disassociate themselves as much as possible, because they just don't want the bad press.
Exactly. It's one of those reminders, like, yes, the WWE is a publicly traded company. If some sort of disaster like this happens, they do have to react. But I don't think Hogan is being, like, short term, yes, he's being scrubbed from history, but I don't see it as a long term thing. Like, he got taken off the Hall of Fame page, but that doesn't mean he was removed from the Hall of Fame itself,
he hasn't
right?
formally been just taken out of the Hall of Fame. It's the alumni page, which is more or less people there, that are kind of like under Legends contract or just on good terms with. So that's kind of like, if you're not on the main roster, your alumni page status is kind of like you're standing with the company.
So what do you guys think about this reaction that the WWE had then? Where, he's practically gone from everything. We haven't seen anything like this until the Chris Benoit situation going back. And there have been other wrestlers going on record, on camera, on video. There is footage of them, racial slurs, homophobic comments, and some of them are in the Hall of Fame. But
none of them are Hulk Hogan level, right? Like, imagine if John Cena went out and did the same thing. It would probably be, in a couple of years, it would probably be the same thing. Well, I guess the best example, and what immediately annoyed me, and this is why the topic is not necessarily pissed me off, but it definitely upset me. There is a Warrior wing in the Hall of Fame. And Warrior has openly been homophobic. There is video. You can just go on YouTube and look it up. And because this man passed away, obviously no death wished upon anybody, but then does that make the past okay? And yet Hulk Hogan does something where it was in the privacy. You mentioned it, Ryan. This was in the privacy of whatever video, whatever. We're not going to talk about moral
whoever's
aspects.
home that was in. It was in the privacy of it.
Like when Warrior can openly give a speech about all this to students, to so many different things, and get away with it. Isn't this a bit of a double standard by WWE?
I haven't been able to quote this for a very long time, but to quote Harvey Dent, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain.
Yeah, it's two things. It's one, the fact that Warrior passed away. It's like these things aren't going to really resurface, and there's nothing he can do now to ruin his reputation, and the fact that Hulk Hogan just overall was a bigger icon. He is more well known, although the Ultimate Warrior was very well known and is still kind of like a public figure. He's not Hulk Hogan. And the fact, because it's crazy, like, it's definitely my assumption that Gawker is choosing to now kind of release this because, Hogan, this video is X amount of years old. Hogan has been they've been in like this lawsuit thing for a while now, and this is probably why Hogan was involved in suing them so much, because it wasn't like the sex tape part. It was probably this, because he knew this was far more damning to his reputation, and now we're kind of seeing that all come to pass.
Now, the last thing I guess I want to get to is, what impact does this have on you guys as wrestling fans? All of us. This is not John Cena. John Cena can be the biggest guy right now. How many people that don't even have a clue that the WWF became WWE, they know about Hulk Hogan? So this has a real big impact in the company.
So are you asking, like, my impact personally?
Yeah, like, how does this affect you? Are you okay, Keith?
Yeah, honestly, from hearing all the stories about Hogan throughout the years, I don't really like Hulk Hogan that much, so even though it sucks from like a wrestling PR standpoint, whatever. It was bound to happen eventually.
I don't really have a ton of nostalgia for Hulk Hogan. I mean, I started watching wrestling in like 2000. He had his run in 2002, and I didn't watch WCW. But, I appreciated Hogan for the history and everything, but it's not like damning to my childhood like it is for a lot of other people. He was never the guy I looked up to growing up. I was familiar with him before I started watching wrestling, and I saw him in his, whatever those crappy movies that came out. But yeah, it doesn't.
Don't disrespect Thunder in Paradise.
Yeah.
God damn it.
It doesn't personally affect me that much, and it's kind of like, it just kind of was like, I knew Hogan couldn't stay with the company that long. Something always has to happen.
Yeah.
And this is just the latest thing.
Yeah, I guess to me the closing comment would be, I mentioned it, I think it was like 10, 20 episodes ago. Wrestling, let's face facts, it's a very dark industry to be involved with. There's a lot of racism, anti-gay remarks that happen. I mean, look back in the Attitude Era. My best example was Shawn Michaels. He would say the F word, like in a negative light regarding homosexuals and all that. And it was a normal thing. It was a normal part of culture at the moment. So times have changed so much. It almost seems that maybe, all these old timers just cannot keep up. They can't understand. Times have changed. So it completely sucks. I agree with Ryan and Keith. In my case, I have no sentimental value. I was never a big fan of Hogan, and I did watch the WCW. He was the thing that I disliked the most about it, because he's not really anything too cool to watch, at least for me. So everybody listening, does this mean you will put on a Hogan shirt? Let us know in the tweets, because obviously that is the biggest thing. Merchandise. I was listening to Peter Rosenberg.
Those are going to stay in the dresser drawers for a little while.
Yeah, I was listening to Peter Rosenberg's Cheap Heat, and it was hilarious because he was talking about that his favorite shirt that his wife wears is her Hogan shirt. So now he was like depressed. You got to listen to that special edition.
Yeah, exactly, because those are guys who grew up watching Hogan, so that their solemn tone is kind of a good indication.
Yeah.
So if you want to check out the special edition of the Cheap Heat podcast, that's kind of the generation that it really hit them close to home.
Exactly. Now, talking about something else that has a very high historic value, it's SummerSlam. It's one of the big four in WWE, and there's been this rumor that it was going to be 4 hours. SummerSlam's going to be 4 hours, guys. What do you think?
Yay, more wrestling. Woohoo.
I think my roommate said it best, where I would take SummerSlam for 4 hours if they move Raw back to 2 hours. 4 hours of SummerSlam is it's definitely like they're really pushing hard to make this mini WrestleMania Junior, whatever you want to call it. It could be really good. I mean, if it's only twice a year, I guess it's not that bad. And it seems like they do really want to stack the card this year. So maybe this is kind of like a trial run, and if it goes well, it might become a yearly tradition.
And I think that's exactly what it comes down to, is how stacked is the card going to be? The reason why we accept WrestleMania for those 4 hours is because how stacked that card is. Like, they can keep it exciting for those 4 hours. And I'm curious if they can do that twice in a year with SummerSlam. Like, if it's an extra hour and it's just like mid-card kind of whatever feuds, then I don't think it belongs.
Exactly, because keep in mind, the 4 hours does not include, I believe, the pre-show, which usually has a match. So we're looking at a combined 5 hours worth of SummerSlam, and maybe there'll be some sort of a post-show or something. Probably not. But are you accepting, are you okay with this idea of longer pay-per-views? Overall, like, let's remove Raw, because we've said in multiple podcasts that pay-per-views, no matter how good how good or bad the Raws have been, the pay-per-views are generally really good.
Yes, yeah, totally.
All right, cool. So we're good. 4 hours, it's gonna be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, if it's only 2 shows a year, I think everyone can handle it.
I don't know. For me, I don't know how to feel about this. It's been a conflicting thing where, yeah, more wrestling, but more wrestling doesn't necessarily equal better. 3 hour Raw, I think, is traumatized me to the point.
If they put the effort into it, which it seems like they're trying this year, getting The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar there, It seems like they're pushing for it. If they can continually do that, then I think it's okay.
But besides Brock and The Undertaker, like, what else have they done so far? Because that's a one-match card so far on a 4-hour show. Like, that match is going to be, 20 minutes, half an hour tops? There's still 3.5 hours of content.
I mean, I think we're seeing the development. Obviously, with Stardust, there's going to be some sort of Arrow involvement, and the Divas are going to have their match. And the next thing I want to get to, Kevin Owens has to be involved in some way, shape, or form. We saw him take on Randy Orton on Raw. Obviously, in the last podcasts, I've been a little bit paranoid, I guess, is the best way to describe where, I love Kevin Owens so much, and I'm just afraid, and it sucks to me that he's getting the Cena effect, or I don't know what to call it, where he's up there, but then he just sort of gets brought down. Faced Randy Orton in what was, I guess, a good match. Obviously, it ended the way it did, inconclusive. Cesaro and all that got involved. What do you guys think about this thing where maybe we could be seeing some kind of, I don't know, fatal four-way or tag team match? Do you like the combination that's shaping up?
Yeah, it really seems like it can go in a lot of directions, because it's like these are kind of 4 guys who are kind of just got nothing to do. We could be seeing 2 singles matches, maybe Orton versus Sheamus for like the Money in the Bank, and Cesaro versus Owens. But I think it's probably better served for like a fatal 4-way, and it would be cool if the Money in the Bank was on the line or something like that. But Owens, yeah, I mean, the way Triple H was putting him over hard at the top of the show makes me feel like he's gonna be okay.
Exactly, and I think that's the moral of the story. Everything is going to be okay.
Awesome. Now, with Randy Orton, I think it was interesting. We had a Superstar Spotlight release last week, part 1 and 2, where we essentially talked about his entire career up until the Authority. Now, with this match, it was just so interesting to me because it really does feel like he's just there. I felt nothing, no direct involvement about anything, and it's so weird because Triple H is there, everybody's there, yet he's almost irrelevant.
It always kind of feels like unless Randy Orton's sort of in like a premier title feud, he just seems like he's there. He kind of seems lost in the shuffle. I think someone said the same thing about Dean Ambrose, although I feel like if he's with Reigns, they kind of work. But yeah, Orton, it's like if he's not in like a faction or he's not in the title feud, it's just like it seems like he's just kind of hanging out.
It's so fascinating because I don't think there's anybody else on the roster who can go from being so important to so irrelevant in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, because think about it. Before he became the first ever WWE World Heavyweight Champion, for a couple of months he was doing nothing. We even brought it up on the show. Then he becomes champion. He is the face of the company. Then he's all that. But then he's right back to before that. And it's just so weird how that can happen with Orton. I guess that's maybe even a good thing. The fact that he can do that, it's a little crazy.
He has a lot of peaks and valleys in his career, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Indeed.
Now, getting to the main event of Monday Night Raw, we found out that there was going to be a champion versus champion match where Seth Rollins had the opportunity to actually become the U.S. champion, taking on John Cena. Obviously, everybody, I'm assuming, has seen at this point the gruesome pictures of John Cena's beautiful broken nose, because that thing is broken. There's no doubt about
it. That is
Big
legit
time.
Broken.
Like there was blood, and I can watch some of those pictures. How have you guys ever had a broken nose? I can't.
No.
How does that feel? Can you breathe?
I don't want to know how that feels. But I mean, as soon as like Cena went to the very corner, I feel like that's kind of like your I'm hurt, don't touch me zone of the ring. And like you could just see the blood pouring onto the apron.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow, he got really lit up there. And, props to him. I mean, you wouldn't expect anything less from Cena than to just work through that match like a champ. His nose was just huge, swollen by the end of it.
What a trooper, right? For everything that people can say about Cena, how many other guys would probably just stop wrestling? Oh, that kind of happened with Joey Mercury in that TLC Fatal 4-Way Tag match a couple of years ago. But anyway, talking about the match.
Sin Cara, the original
Sin Cara like broke his finger
Right,
and then
yeah.
they stopped the match.
Exactly.
He got a ton of crap for just ending the match immediately. I
get a
won't
broken
give him
nose.
crap because I'd probably do the same thing as him. But that's what I heard.
I'd just be like, I got this back spasm. Can I take a break from the match? Can do it again next week.
Timeout, please.
Yes. Now, overall, the match, what do you guys think?
That was an absolutely fantastic match. Honestly, I think my favorite spot of the year happened in that match last night, where it was the suplex or the superplex and then into the Falcon's Arrow. Like, honestly, one of the coolest things I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
It's just
it's
another chapter in John Cena's crazy work rate.
Yeah, you don't typically see a superplex comboed into something, so that was pretty amazing.
Because even kayfabe-wise, they're supposed to be feeling the effects of the superplex. We were so trained for that. So when that happened, and, he even did the Phoenix Splash type thing, and I was telling Keith during this last night, it's hard for me to dislike Seth Rollins. Number one, because his episode with in Up, Up, Down, Down with Austin Creed is awesome, but then you see him pull stuff out like that, and you're just impressed. I cannot dislike this guy. Now, obviously we had the broken nose, so who knows what the actual match ending was. Maybe this was it. Who knows?
I think it was probably more or less worked pretty much the same.
Yeah, but maybe I don't know. I guess what
it
I'm
might
trying
have
to
ended
say,
a little bit sooner, but I wouldn't expect them to go super long considering that's going to be one of your featured matches at SummerSlam.
Yeah, but what annoyed the crap out of me, and I know a lot of people, is the tapping out. For whatever reason, that seems to be a recurring theme. Now, this is the main event of Raw. John Cena made Seth Rollins, who is the champion, tap out. Now, 1, 2, 3s, even if it's clean, whatever. A lot of times, that has to happen. I don't like undefeated streaks. We've talked about it. But when somebody taps out, that's like another level. That's like admitting weakness.
It's interesting how it is that way.
Yeah.
And somehow we all look at tapping out as just like a far more like a bigger sign of weakness than just taking a pin. And that's what, like, a lot of people have been tapping out recently. Like, it was very surprising to see Paige tap out on Raw against Sasha Banks. And then, we saw Owens tapping out at Battleground. And now the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Rollins is tapping out to John Cena.
I find that so interesting because, like, more and more people have submission finishers. Yet there's a stigma on people tapping out. Like, where is that middle ground there?
Well, yeah, it's just going to happen with the Divas because pretty much all of them have a submission move. So that's.
But like, even think of the male roster. Daniel Bryan had a submission move before, right? Rusev has a submission move. John Cena has a submission move. Like, there are people on the roster that, like, males that have submission moves.
I think for me, at least, I like submission moves, but for whatever reason. For whatever reason, I prefer them more when it's a bad guy, heel doing it. Because it's a way of like, yeah, tap out to me. When a good guy does it, it's kind of like, yeah, you're kind of an asshole. You could just pin him.
But at the same time, it makes more sense when a bad guy taps out.
Yes,
because
exactly.
Look at Seth Rollins' character as a cowardly heel. Of course he's going to tap out. He's not going to do the whole big fight thing if the title isn't on the line. He's just going to tap out and move on to the next one.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, although... it seems kind of bad that Rollins is tapping out. Of the people tapping out, I think his is
probably the best.
Yeah, his is okay because he's supposed to be the cowardly heel. Kevin Owens, I think, was a much worse situation because he's a heel, but he's also trying to be like a tough guy heel, kind of trying to prove himself physically, whereas like Rollins is trying to outsmart people. So I had more of a problem with that, but it just... I don't know. I guess you need an excuse for Cena to have, to earn his championship, and it happened to be by beating the champion.
Now, I guess I can't disagree with that, but we were talking before we started recording, and notice there's a recurring theme. I think we were going to talk about this last week, too, where a lot of people are saying, yeah, this is Cena's best year. We've said it. His work rate, pulling off more moves and all that, but ironically enough, in this year, he's arguably beaten way more people than he has in the past, and in big storylines, not just in the U.S. Open Challenge. We're talking, Rusev, Rollins at one point, Bad News Barrett, guys that sort of do need that push. It's like, it's a tough situation. So what do you guys feel about that, where for everything else that we're talking good, and I'm not here to bash Cena, but just a note where we're getting all these good things, but the conclusion is still the same.
it's just a matter of context. It's just a way, because John Cena is like going the extra mile in every single match. It looks amazing short term, but I've even said it before. In the long term, I don't think the John Cena US Open Challenge is going to be beneficial to anybody but John Cena. Like, who remembers those matches against Dean Ambrose, where they had an amazing match, against Stardust, against Neville, where they were all classics?
Keith, what the hell? Slater. You got to bring him up.
Oh, of
Seriously.
course. Heath Slater, the ultimate classic of the John Cena Open Challenge.
But then you can look at someone like Cesaro, where I think those matches actually did something for Cesaro. Now he's in a bigger feud, and but he's looking a lot better.
We're still in the short term, though. Long term, who knows if that's going to change anything.
There was some follow-up. Yes, you can totally argue with a lot of the other guys. There was no follow-up. And I still think it seems like you're better off in one of these one-off go-the-distance matches with Cena than you are in a full-fledged feud with him. Because, we see what happens where it's, you might win one match, but then you're going to lose the next 3. And I think that's far more damaging.
Yeah, so overall, I guess it's a situation of it's good, it's awesome in the way that we're going to get Seth Rollins versus John Cena probably at SummerSlam. I think it's going to be an outstanding match. Seth Rollins better win, is all I got to say. I don't think there's any other option.
For whatever reason, I'm not that worried.
That's usually bad, though. Because
you'll get complacent, and then that's when it happens. The crazy thing is that, okay, let's say for a second John Cena wins at SummerSlam. It'll be the win that ties him with Ric Flair. Like, we're one championship away from John Cena tying Ric Flair's record as far as the WWE goes. That's crazy.
It's gonna happen anyway, Keith. You just accept it, man. It's gonna happen.
No.
There are 3 things that are guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and John Cena winning his 16th WWE Championship.
Now, this is the part of the podcast where Keith and I, Ryan, you may have to be a referee in this. Something happened last night because there was a tweet from Adam Rose. I think very few people will remember him right now. He was formerly Leo Kruger in NXT, and he was tweeting some pictures making reference to the Leo Kruger character. Now, when I bring this up casually with a conversation with Keith, I'm thinking, hey, we should bring that up on the podcast. Nothing happened on Raw. But then Keith said, I want to see the Leo Kruger character back. And my reaction was, why? There's no point. He was not anything. So
because Leo Kruger was awesome.
No, what was awesome about Leo Kruger? Okay, fill me in. Like, sell me on Leo Kruger.
Okay. The thing, when I say awesome, it's more like in comparison to what Adam Rose currently is. Like, I liked Leo Kruger back when he was Leo Kruger. I liked him for the same reasons, and this is going to sound nuts, but I liked him for the same reasons that I enjoyed, crazy Randy Orton. Like, that methodical in the ring. Like, Leo Kruger would do a bunch of moves like step on the fingers, like things that look legitimately painful, like he was enjoying torturing his opponent. That's what I liked about Leo Kruger. It was different as far as a wrestling standpoint. And that's not even the best thing about that character. The Titantron. The Titantron was so good. So good.
But you know that
was?
Would be changed.
No.
Oh, they changed.
I refuse to believe that.
Xavier Woods had the best Titantron in NXT,
yes.
And they changed that, and they should have never changed that. But of course, the New Day and all that. But whatever. Leo Kruger, I'm gonna weigh on this. I think Leo Kruger probably was a better long-term character than Adam Rose, or at least had the potential to be. But he was still a few pieces away. I liked the idea of this bounty hunter South African guy. He's crazy.
And he kind of had that PTSD thing going on a little bit, where he was crazy.
Missing a bigger motive, and I wanted to see more bounty hunter-ness to him.
There's no presence.
Yeah, he has I want him to have a target. You know what I mean? And he's seeking out to go after them or something like that. There's a lot you could do with that character. So it just wasn't quite there in NXT, and I was a lot of people were surprised when he changed over to Adam Rose, but I kind of saw why they were doing it.
So one, can we at least agree on this? While you may not enjoy Leo Kruger as much as I did, can you at least agree that there is more potential in that character than in Adam Rose?
I mean, yeah, of course. But I don't think the person can pull it off, because my complaint with Leo Kruger is the same complaint that I had with Adam Rose. When that match started, he was, I don't know what his real name is, but his look, his presence, it just felt like somebody was playing a character. With Bray Wyatt, I'm like, yeah, that's Bray Wyatt. That's not Husky Harris. I'm not thinking about all that. But it just feels like he doesn't believe in his own character. So he should maybe consult Bo Dallas. I don't know. Maybe he should just believe and have an awesome time.
See, I never got that. I think that he got into the whole, like, crazy, like, torture the opponent thing.
Well,
maybe I have to go back and watch some matches.
Yeah, we're gonna Ryan. Were you buying into the bounty hunter character? Yes or no? Because you've mentioned a couple of things, but overall,
I was saying that they could have done so much more with it, and I remember thinking that, you know, at the time that Leo Kruger was doing his thing, it's just he kind of came out and wrestled some good matches, and, you know, said his ta-ta thing and all that, and that was it. He didn't really, like, stalk anyone or whatever. You know, he would say, I'm creepy, but he didn't, like, show us that he was creepy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I guess that's sort of my overall feedback about Leo Kruger. Adam Rose is a very solid worker. I think the Leo Kruger character can work, but I don't think he can actually pull it off. Who knows? I'm wrong. I haven't sat down with the guy and talked with him, so I could be horribly wrong. I don't know him. All I have is the documentary to go by, which Ryan reviewed. So, before we go on any further, we of course want to get to a couple of announcements. Of course, last week was our 100 podcast episode week special extravaganza. It's a very long title. Go on with me. We, of course, had our very first ever Superstar Spotlight. We talk about Randy Orton's career. All of this is available at youtube.com/ByteThatCast. The Fight Night Season 2 trailer came out. It is starting August 6th. Get ready. It's going to get ridiculous. Ridiculous. We also have our top 5 countdown video up on the channel, as well as a video about our contest, which Ryan is going to get to in a little bit. But last week, we also had a stream on Friday. And this Thursday, you're going to get 2 pieces of content on the channel. First, you're going to get No Mercy Live. You're going to get a recap version. It's going to be about 12 minutes of us talking, hanging out, playing some No Mercy. And then you're going to get to see Fight Night Live. Keith checked out the whole 2 hours of our stream and then selected the best moments, full matches you can check out over at the channel. We hung out. The 3 of us had an awesome time. There's that. Another thing I want to bring up, Daniel Bryan's latest book, Yes, My Improbable Journey to the Main Event of WrestleMania, came out last week. I got my copy. I also have the audiobook. Why do I have both? I don't know, but I have them. But if you want to get the book for free, actually, my suggestion is go to audible.com. We should have gotten a link, but we don't. But go with me again. Go to audible.com, sign up for the trial, and you can get the audiobook, which is narrated by D-Bry. Cost you nothing. You can check it out, have a great time. And then if you wanted the physical copy of the book, though, and you don't have the cashola, you don't have the money, I think, Ryan, you can help everybody out, right? Or at least that one lucky person.
Yeah, that's right, because you have a chance to win a $30 Amazon gift card, eligible in the US, UK, and Canada, as Jericho would say. But anyway, we are having a SummerSlam poetry contest. So you have until August 16th to email us your WWE related poem. And as long as it's like 1 page long or less, that's fine. A couple stanzas is cool. So we're looking for it can be funny or serious. We're just looking for a creative poem. That is till August 16th. We'll announce the winner on the August 18th show, as long as reading 2 honorable mentions. So remember, just a WWE related poem, and put the subject SummerSlam poetry in the email and send it over to us. And actually, I'll be reading my poem this week, because all throughout the weeks leading up to it, we're each going to read our own poem. And then, of course, like I said, that August 18th, we'll select the winner to get the $30 Amazon gift card.
So, say you have Daniel Bryan's book already, right? And you're looking for other things that you could possibly use that $30 on. Well, we took a look on Amazon. We went to the deep bowels of Amazon.
Like page 20.
Yeah, like you don't even want to know how deep we went.
Yeah.
Even though Juan just said page 20. And found some other things you could possibly spend that money on. So say you're in need of a toothbrush. You can get a WWE Wrestling Stars Brush Buddy that features The Rock and John Cena as a musical toothbrush. Who doesn't want The Rock and John Cena talking to you while you brush your teeth? I don't want to meet that person personally. But why stop there?
Hey, but you can still buy it, though.
Exactly. Why stop there, though? You could get, for your fingers, your elbows, and your knees, some WWE bandages. In this pack that I am looking at, there is 50% more bandages.
Damn.
No. They didn't put 20 in there. No, they put 30 bandages in there. You could get a Ryback bandage. You could get a John Cena bandage. You could even get a CM Punk bandage because that's relevant, right? Right. But why stop there, friend? You still got money. That's not even $30. Crazy savings, right? So why not tack on a WWE Mad Lib book?
We're done.
I don't even know what's in there. But apparently there's new Mad Libs featuring 21 action-packed stories involving your favorite WWE
We should get
superstars.
that and do a video on it.
We should get that.
Exactly.
How much is
We
that?
actually really should
How
do
much
that.
is that?
It's like $3.
With
so
shipping?
we should. I don't know about shipping.
Oh, figure it out.
We'll figure that out. So all that could be yours if you win our SummerSlam poetry contest. So start thinking, start writing, and send us your entries today.
And remember, you must be from the United States, United Kingdom, and or Canada to enter. You will be receiving the prize in the form of a gift certificate electronically, because it's 2015 and that can be a thing. And the last announcement, a lot of stuff. This Friday, we are streaming once again over at twitch.tv/bythat at around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We may be playing some wrestling games. We may be playing some Metal Gear Solid. Follow us on Twitter, ByteThatCast, to know which games we will be playing. It's going to be at least Keith and myself. Ryan may be joining us because, Ryan, you're in high demand. We know this, okay? There's a reason you're called
I'm
the
a
Sex
busy man.
Panther. Yeah, so there is that. Now, talking about more podcasts, we brought up Cheap Heat. Let's bring up Stone Cold's podcast because, of course, on Raw we found out who the next guest is going to be. Now, of course, we were saying, yeah, it's going to be Undertaker's going to be the next one. But then we find out the next guest will be Paige, the anti-diva, former anti-diva, is going to be in the Stone Cold podcast on the WWE Network. And I want to get your reaction, guys, starting off with Keith. What are you thinking about that?
It felt weird, like really out of place that Paige was going to be on there initially, but it's kind of come out over the last 24 hours that, oh yeah, that's because Hulk Hogan was going to be the next guest. And what happened. They cut Hogan from there, and so now they're replacing with Paige. As far as the actual interview goes, I think it has a lot of potential to be interesting. They'll probably mostly bring up like Tough Enough and the Divas movement and that kind of stuff, so I mean, it's Austin, right? You have to think it'll be good. He can make something great out of that. So I'll watch it. I'll probably like it.
Yeah, see, initially when the Paul Heyman one was announced, we weren't too crazy about it because we've heard so many Paul Heyman interviews. But Austin, I feel like, always finds a different angle to make things interesting. Plus, Paul Heyman can always make things interesting. But I have faith that Austin and Paige will make this a lot better than expected. And it's like, I'm not down on Paige or anything. It's just, I think we're used to people being guests that are just kind of like etched in wrestling history. You know what I mean?
Like, think about the list of Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast guests. We've got Vince McMahon, we've got Triple H, we've got Paul Heyman, and now we have Paige.
Exactly. It's like, nothing against Paige. We all love Paige, but I think everyone can understand why it just feels a little out of place. But there's plenty of things to talk about. Like Keith said, there's the whole ongoing Tough Enough competition, and like people have argued, you know, that about the format of that show and who's been eliminated. A lot of controversy there. And then just this whole new Divas movement, and maybe she has opinions on how things were run or how things are going now. So there are a lot of interesting topics that can be tackled. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, same. I think that this has potential to be one of the better interviews, actually, because as we mentioned with Paul Heyman, it wasn't anything new that we got there, but it was awesome how we got it. But with Paige, the page has not been written, no pun intended, where we don't know. Anything can be brought up, really. She's been in, I believe, Talk is Jericho. She's been in other podcasts. But in this forum, I think that this is how you definitely put the Divas on the map, where this is Stone Cold sitting down in the same seat that may be Undertaker in the next couple of months. Here's Paige at 23 years old, which is ridiculous. You know, she's been wrestling over 10 years. So I really do think that this can be a pretty awesome interview. Now, let's get to some wrestling-related news regarding video games. WWE 2K16 coming out October, and there was a trailer that was leaked yesterday morning, and I guess after that, they sort of had to just everybody let it go because everybody already saw it. The pre-order bonus for WWE 2K16 is the Terminator. Friggin' the Terminator, the T-8000. I'm always terrible with these names, but
T-800, I think.
T-800.
Is it not T-1000?
T-1000
Wow.
is the metal guy.
There are
Who's
people.
also the bad guy in The Marine with John Cena.
Right. And I guarantee you
I haven't
there's
seen
people,
Terminator 2 in roughly about like 10 years, so my
that needs to
apologies.
change. And I apologize for those yelling at us right now because we're probably way off with the name. Can somebody look it up while I say this? But yeah, where you can play as the Terminator from T1 and T2.
I said T-800. That's
right?
the one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, there you go.
I didn't look it up, but I think I'm right.
I trust you, Ryan. I trust you. So what do you guys think? You can play as the freaking Terminator.
It's very weird, but it's kind of cool. I like them doing something different. I guess they just kind of ran out of pre-order guys that are going to go into the Hall of Fame, because that was kind of the pattern for a little while.
Yeah.
And Arnold's already in the Hall of Fame, so who knows? But it's interesting, and I guess, I mean, they're really pushing this Terminator stuff hard between the Triple H entrance and all that, because it's like the whole NBC Universal deal, so it probably has something to do with
it's
that.
almost like Triple H is good friends with Arnold, and they want to cross-promote their brands
Yeah, it would
or
have been
something
nice
like
if
that.
Terminator Genesis wasn't a complete flop. You know, it might have been a little bit cooler.
But no, I agree with what you said completely about the actual character being in the game. Like, oh, cool. What's his finisher going to be? Pulling out a gun and shooting somebody? Because what else did the Terminator do?
And how does he get pinned?
But, yeah. How does he sell
What are
it?
his stats? What are his stats?
We need like a lava level or some like factory level with a machine that crushes him. That's the only way to beat him.
If you haven't gone and watched the announcement trailer, it is awesome. They did a very good job recreating that scene from
also
T2.
sorry for spoiling Terminators 1 and 2.
Well,
People haven't watched it by now. I think we're good, Ryan.
Yeah, I think it's safe. I wonder, you think they'll have like some sort of Terminator mode where maybe they do like the Undertaker streak mode, but it's the Terminator mode? That'd actually be pretty awesome.
And the only man to beat him is Cyborg John Cena.
Yeah.
what if you go through wrestling history and your goal is to hunt Hulk Hogan?
Oh my god. If they did a Terminator storyline where you have to go back in time to like you have to go back in time to erase Hulkamania from history.
That would be incredible.
This makes so much sense. I'm gonna be so disappointed when I get the game now.
Yeah.
Wow, you blew my mind.
Because that's
man.
something, if WWE could do it right now, they would.
What? I'm just thinking about this. Sorry. So
Let's just take a moment here.
yeah, 3, 2, 1. We're good. Last quick thing. How's your hype level for 2K16 from 1 to 5 right now?
I mean, it has a lot of potential, right? They're really selling how big the roster is. Like 2K15 is a good game. It just needs more things in it. Like, it was very bare bones, right? So if they just add enough things into it to make it like have all of the features of 2K14, but on this next gen level of like gameplay and graphics, then sold.
So like
Yes.
a 4?
Mine is at a 1.
I'd give it like a 4. See, I want to be at a 4, but then realistic expectations sink in,
Wait,
and
is
then
1
it's
the
back to
lowest?
down like a 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, mine is at a 1. Until I see the game modes, it's at a 1 because nothing else matters until I see what modes are in it.
We're so close, no matter how far.
And nothing else matters. I'm going to give it a 2. Now, I think that in this point in time in the podcast, we do need to give out a public service announcement for the sake of wrestling fans around the globe that And Virgil may walk by in your house, and if you don't know who Virgil is, it's probably for good reason, but to summarize, he was a tag team partner of Ted DiBiase, and he was Vincent in NWO. You guys remember Vincent, right? Right?
Who?
Yep. Sure.
Not McMahon, just in case. But yeah, so this guy has basically proceeded to milk off this Ted DiBiase and Virgil banner.
Phrasing, Juan, phrasing.
hey, you dirty mind person, you. Yeah, he's basically milked off his career. Damn it, Ryan! I can't get through the
There's
segment
no
now.
better way to say that.
Yes,
like
there
really,
is.
like
There
let's say leached.
Okay,
He's
fine,
leached off the $1 million
I
man.
had no problem with saying
Piggyback.
he's capitalizing on both Bill Goldberg and Ted DiBiase's wrestling career, and then going to friggin' flea markets everywhere, subway stations, to basically sell pictures, sell all this, and be sometimes an asshole to people. He was on Not Sam Roberts' podcast, and I don't know if did you guys get a chance to see it?
I did not, but I might have to take some time to watch it from what you told me.
Seriously, if everybody listening wants to be traumatized, do yourself a favor, go to youtube.com/notsam, I believe it is, or just look up Sam Roberts on YouTube. Check out that interview. There is sexual assault in that interview, sexual references every 3 to 4 seconds. It is highly offensive. I cannot believe this man and the fact that he is just doing all this. It's ridiculous. So why not play a little game, guys? Ready?
Alrighty.
Do I have to?
Yes, of course. It's part of the agenda, so it's going to happen.
Okay.
Okay, now, Mr. True Prince of Pro, obviously awesome guy, helped us out on last week's episode. He sent a question, which is, if you were Virgil, where would the most unique place you could set up his merchandise table be? Try and be reasonable with your responses, because Virgil is not a rich man. So don't say he would sell his merchandise on Mars, because it is impossible. Plus, aliens don't want to pay for overpriced 8x10s.
Oh, that is worded amazingly.
How offensive are our answers allowed to be?
It all depends on the editor. Hey, that's you, man.
Oh, that's me. Well, in my case, I will go first and say I would set up my if I was Virgil, I would set my merchandise stand up in front of the welfare office, because that way I wouldn't have that far to go once I don't sell anything.
Oh my god.
Oh man,
That's a
that
good
was a
one.
doozy. Let's see, where would I set
Follow
mine
that.
I think it would be pretty awesome if I would just go to people's houses where their door was open, and I'd just walk in and set up my merchandise stand and act like I was supposed to be there, and just try and sell some merchandise to be like, hey, you can buy my merchandise in the comfort of your own home. Who needs the home shopping network or the internet? You can just buy it right here. And then once I was kicked out, I'd just go to the next house.
What are the odds? Your answer and mine is almost the exact same. Where if I was Virgil, I would actually go to other people's garage sales and just sit there and then sell my 8x10.
That's a better answer.
Yeah, no, I'm supposed to be here. No, you pay me. I want some of that F money. And if you want to know, check out his interview. He basically talks about F money, which I didn't know, is money that you can just F around with and do whatever the hell you want. So he wants a ton of it. He actually had a Reddit AMA, Ask Me Anything, last week. That was actually pretty funny. I'm going to say that. So
and
check that
CM
out.
Punk had an amazing response on Twitter to him. Basically, Virgil said, I'm doing an MMA. I'm doing an AMA, check it out to see how it's done. And CM Punk had a pretty vulgar response that was amazing that you guys should look up, because I can't say it on this show.
And as far as I'm concerned, well-deserved response.
No thanks, you're a blank. I'll let you fill in the gap.
Yeah, so for those listening, please check out that interview. We will be tweeting it tomorrow. That is on a Wednesday. And I need to know what you guys think of it. So, since we're getting into questions, I think it's only fair we bring it up to the question master, Keith Poshik. Take it with the questions, my friend.
Yes, we have questions, and we have questions aplenty. Back to normal business this week. If you want to send us a question, send it to the Twitter, the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the emails, all at Byte That Cast, respectively. So first from Twitter, Mr. Barnaballs asks, if you three were wrestlers in the future, who'd you want to have a match with and why? And not including each other.
No. Actually, it's the opposite because he clarified it is amongst us.
Oh, did I read that wrong?
Yeah.
Who? Oh, yes, you are completely right. Thank you. So who'd we want to fight?
I'll be
Let's
honest,
see.
though. I'll be honest, Ryan. I think you and I have a rematch that never happened.
Do we?
In our old CW league, Ryan and myself actually faced off against each other.
Oh, that's
And
right.
then I won, so I'm actually undefeated in wrestling, guys. I've never lost.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to try and get my win back, so I would have to choose Juan as my opponent.
And I would also go for Juan because I know your weakness. And I would just exploit it and win.
What is it?
Next question it comes from Mr. J4 Gaming, and he says, first of all, congrats on episode 100, guys. Thank you. Second of all, the Byte That Cast is teleported into Vince McMahon's office. The three of you are forcibly scheduled into a triple threat tornado tag match against The Big Show, The Great Khali, and Ryback. You have mere hours to prepare, and botches are inevitable. What do you do, and what is your strategy for the match?
All right, so I'm going to assume that this is we're working a match with these three. It's not
Yes.
like real life fighting. So
Yes, we are working a match.
yes,
that
I
botches are
actually
inevitable to
think
happen.
it would not be that bad. Like, yes, it would be painful because they're probably gonna stiff the living hell out of us. But I think these are all like big guys, and we would just get squashed in a squash match. We'd just be jobbers. So they are professional enough that they could probably carry us through the match by just beating the hell out of us and throwing us around the ring. And we basically have to do nothing but take bumps. Like, we don't have to get any offense in. So I actually think we could work a pretty decent squash match because we wouldn't even have to do much. So that's my
Exactly.
answer.
See, for me, I'm gonna spin the bottle a little bit and say
Who
I'm
you
gonna
gonna kiss?
kayfabe it.
You gonna kiss Great Khali?
Kind of. Oh, almost. You know, there's this song. I know Great Khali's weaknesses. Same with Big Show and Ryback. So I would just go into the match with a boombox because boombox are still a thing. Go with me. And then I would just play Gangnam Style. Now, first off, Great Khali would try to dance, but his knees doing the dance, they would break, causing him to fall, therefore putting him out of action. Big Show would just fall asleep, and Ryback would get so hungry from burning so many calories, he would leave the match, giving me an opportunity to just pin Khali and win the match. Bam!
Wow. Now, no, that's going to be tough to follow that. But if you go back and look at some of the matches from Ryback's early career, you could probably see something what it would be like, those 3-on-1 handicap matches that Ryback would be involved in. Just in your mind, add in the Big Show and the Great Khali, and it's probably pretty close. Like, all three of us would probably get shell-shocked, and that would be the end of it. And that's pretty depressing.
And painful.
But thank you. Yeah, and painful. But thank you for the question, J4 Gaming. On to the next one from NKBE1324.
My boy!
Hit Juan's boy asks, who has the best moveset in the WWE right now?
Is there any answer that's not Cesaro?
Seth Rollins is that answer.
True, huh? Ryan, what's yours?
You could even argue for Kevin Owens, and even John Cena's shown a lot of moves. But I would say it's Cesaro, Rollins, and Owens.
Yeah, see, I would argue the Cena point because his moveset is good because we're so used to nothing.
I would also put
like
Sami Zayn on that list, by the way.
Agreed.
Good list. I like that.
That was a good list, and I'm surprised. I thought everybody was going to say Rollins because, I mean, suplex Falcon Arrow. Nothing gets better than that, right?
No, it's
Except
definitely
for
Dean
this
Ambrose.
next question,
It's Dean Ambrose for the rebound clothesline because I love it so much.
Yes, we don't count that anymore. But we do count this next question coming from Cam B on YouTube, and he asks, can each of you guys describe how you think Sheamus will cash in his Money in the Bank contract?
It's very tough now because I was expecting like a Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar SummerSlam, and I thought he would cash in there just so they would tease another cash in. So if that match ever happens down the line, I would say that's when the cash in would happen. Now, I'm not thinking it's going to happen till like Survivor Series Royal Rumble time. And we've all talked about, we don't think he's actually, at least I think all three of us don't think he's actually going to win when he tries to cash in. So I think it's just going to be like a major pay-per-view, and it's just not going to work out for him.
Yeah, I'm sort of going with Rumble. I don't know how it's going to happen because my original idea was very much revolving SummerSlam and Survivor Series, but the way things are shaping up, I don't think that's going to be the case. So I would say Rumble. There's some special stipulation match with Cena either winning or retaining the championship in whatever phase he is then, and then he's going to take Cena out because he's not going to take down a heel champion, which around that time I'm assuming it's still going to be Seth Rollins, or I'm actually going to say that they may actually give Dean Ambrose a shot around the Rumble, and then Sheamus beats him for the championship. Because that would piss me off. So it only makes sense for that to happen.
Yes.
That is a good point. But I think to go on that, like, I can't say exactly when it's going to happen because I can't tell the future. But whoever beats Seth Rollins for the title, I think that's who's getting cashed in on. Like, as long as Seth Rollins has the championship, I don't think we're going to see a cash in. So we should get that far first and then think about Sheamus cashing in.
That's true, because people would be happy to see Sheamus cash in on Rollins, sort of, because people don't like Rollins. So it makes sense that you want Sheamus to get the heat on somebody else, I guess. We'll see.
Agreed. So our final question of the show comes in via email from Zach Hardy. Zach Hardy, my friend, in quotes, I guess, at this point. But anyway, he asks, what match in WWE history only that has been retired or you might not have seen for a while would you like to bring back? He gives a couple examples like the Championship Scramble, the Inferno match, or even the Gulf of Mexico match.
Now, there are some matches that do get brought back up every couple of years. I think a lot of them are probably not going to happen, like a First Blood. Out of that, I actually like the Championship Scramble, and I don't think they ever did enough of that because it was so different. I mean, we had Brian Kendrick temporarily sort of being a champion because he got a pin during that match. So something like that I would actually like to see.
I would like to see the number one contender match stipulation come back.
What's that?
Yeah. But besides that, of course, Kennel from Hell. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, on that line of thinking, I'd love to see the Punjab prison match back. I mean, wasn't that the best idea?
Oh, this is how we end the show with the Punjabi prison reference?
No, because I actually have a real answer. A match that I would love to see more of, and I'm very depressed that it only works once a year, but God, I love it every single time, and that's the Miracle on 21st Street fight that happens during the Christmas episode of Raw, where they have weapons.
I don't know.
I don't know. But I think it's, I don't know.
You're terrible.
Yell at me if I'm wrong. But it's that match where they just have weapons around the ring and like gifts or like in presents wrapped up. Like when John Cena would like pull out a chair from a present and stuff. I think it's a great thing. Or all of a sudden he hits a bowling ball and then he hits Alberto Del Rio in the dick with said bowling ball. It's a fun match that I don't think they do enough.
And of course, Judy Bagwell
violence
on a pole.
But
Yes.
see, Ryan, the thing is you bring that up and it makes everything else irrelevant.
And hey, wait, what about War Games? Everyone wants to see War Games.
Well, we're saying WWE only.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because in that case, I would have said Texas Death Match. That's a match I would legitimately like to see come back. At least the concept of.
Judy
But I don't think the WWE's ever.
It's tempting.
Fine.
I don't know how to transition other than, hey, thanks everybody for the awesome questions. Episode 100 is in the bag. 101, the informative, the beginning, the something of Byte that is also out of the way. So I guess the only thing left is Mr. McNulty.
Yes, so remember, we have that SummerSlam poetry contest. So I hope this gets your creative juices flowing to submit yours at bytethatcast@gmail.com, because all of us are going to be the judges.
You could win that toothbrush.
Yes,
You
we are
could
all
win the
going to
toothbrush.
judge what is the most creative poem. So here is mine to hopefully get the wheels turning. We've already gotten a bunch of submissions, so thank you. And all right, I'm just going to get started. So mine is about a guy we did our superstar spotlight on, Mr. Randy Orton. So here's my poem. And pretend there's smooth jazz music going if Keith doesn't want to edit it in, because I totally understand that. All right, here we go. The music hits, the lights turn red. Out comes the man with voices in his head. His slow walk to the ring can sometimes be a drag. But watch what you say, 'cause he'll poop in your bag. So smooth in the ring, you're always in for a thriller. Third generation Viper and the legend killer. Power slams and neck breakers, moves careers will shorten. Rope hung DDT as Cole screams vintage Orton. It's time to coil up as he goes to his dark place. Violent memories in his head, like kicking Cena's dad in the face. The crowd is wild, and it's time for the final blow as Randy Orton attempts the devastating RKO. But it's reversed, his best move he could use. His opponent takes over, and it looks like he'll lose. It can't end like this. How could this be? But then RKO out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Bravo.
Kid Ryan wins.
That was my poem. So we want to see your poem. So make sure to email those to us. ByteThatCast@gmail.com with the subject SummerSlam Poetry. So that is going to do it for this week's edition of the Byte That podcast. We want to thank everyone for tuning in. Few quick plugs before we go. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ByteThatCast. You can check out all the episode 100 week content that Juan talked about earlier in the show, including that superstar spotlight about Randy Orton. And we've got tons of stuff from our Twitch live special that are going to be coming up on the YouTube channel for you to check out as well. So don't forget to also check out our social media. You can follow us on Twitter @ByteThatCast, as well as going to our Facebook, facebook.com/ByteThatCast. For everything else, you can go to ByteThat.com. And of course, at the top of the show, I did mention that if you would like to donate money to Lee Morgan, a very cool person in the IWC community, does a lot of live tweeting during WWE events, you can go to GoFundMe.com/QueensHouse to help her out. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.